Yo, what's up, everybody? I am Thomas Dope as Yola, whatever you want to call me. This is the Dope as Usual podcast. I'm here with my co-host Marty O'Neill.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Very special episode today. Let's just start it off like this. Super excited to bring two-time UFC champ, the most knockouts in history in the weight class of all time. This is the TJ Dillashaw episode. Thank you for being here.
Man, my pleasure. It just kind of worked out. I was in the area. I'm excited to be here, man.
Thanks for being here, man. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so stoked that was a real intro right now, man. Like, that's real. Does that ever hit you sometimes? Like, that's me.
I mean, I guess when I first started getting into the sport, we got Bruce Buffer announcing your name. It's like, that's when shit gets real, right? Yeah. It's like, he gives you like them goosebumps down your back. It's just, and then me and him started getting this thing where I started yelling in his face when he announced my name, just
hype each other up.
Like a real psycho kind of shit, you know?
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you. And I know you said you grew up in the sticks also. Yeah. I just want to start it off real quick. You're from Sonora.
Yeah, close to, yes.
Well, it's at Angels Camp, Sonora, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I grew up in Merced, born and raised. So when I saw Sonora, I'm like, we probably played against each other in football in high school.
Yeah.
So I just thought it's always really awesome to hear somebody from some part of our area. I know it's not close, but it's close enough.
It's like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Does it have all the Merced issues or not so much?
Yeah. I think the whole area of our area between Sac and Bakersfield is all in the same.
Well, so like, I wouldn't say that. We're like a little bit more up in the hills. We got a bunch of redneck shit, you know. Like we had one stoplight in my whole town when I grew up as a kid. 800 kids in my high school, to where like it was like a ton of towns coming together, right? Like
to make it up.
A town of 3,500 people. So I grew up in a real small town.
Was it hard to get noticed in wrestling coming up, or not so much?
Wrestling coming up, it was coming from a small town. It's like almost seems impossible at first. You're going to be something big, right? Like, how am I going to compete with these guys? You know, I'm just from this little ass school. My dad's my coach, kind of thing. And, just one thing leads to the next, and I started just doing well and just building that confidence and believing in yourself. And started wrestling with some of the best over the summer, like the Nathan Morgans of the world, which was a 4-time state champion. Just like, and started holding my own. I was like, oh shit, I can make something of this. You know, had a great year my senior year. Took second at state and got a full-ride scholarship to go to Cal State Fullerton. So, but I almost didn't even continue wrestling into high school just because it was kind of like a far-fetched dream almost. Like my freshman year, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but obviously I'm glad I did.
The Olympics are really what you're shooting for when you're doing that, right? Like,
so it's tough. Here in the United States, we have a completely different style of wrestling, right? So we're the only nation that does collegiate style wrestling.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's completely different. Like the Olympics is called freestyle and Greco, to where if you're over in Europe and you're wrestling, that's all you're doing your whole life. You're doing freestyle and Greco. You're becoming an expert in that. So sometimes it's hard for some collegiate athletes to make that switch from D1 wrestling to go to freestyle and Greco. Some have done it great. Right now, we have a super dominant wrestling force. Last year we did too. Like, really impressive what the USA is going to be able to do. In the Olympics this year, last year, the year before, we've been super strong. So I'm pumped on that. But no, so I wrestled collegiate, but collegiate wrestling transfers better to MMA. So when MMA started getting big, when I was in college, it's like when The Ultimate Fighter first came out, the first season, you know? So
2009-ish.
I mean, I remember being a kid and going to Blockbuster. I mean, when Blockbuster existed, right, Doc?
And
then
he talks about this all the time.
And then run, like my parents would be like, all right, you can pick out any movie. Me and my brothers always run back to where they have like the explicit movies. They got UFC fights. If you find a new one, you're like, yeah,
that's how I started too.
So then like I started watching that shit back then, and then there was The Ultimate Fighter that came out. And obviously, I was thought these people were fucking crazy. Like, what are they doing, man? Like, grown men fighting each other in a cage. This shit's wild. Yeah. And then my mom was the first one that kind of said, "Was like, I could see you doing this." I was like, "What? Really? Like, you're crazy, mom." Like, even me wrestling in college, I was like, "There's no way. Like, I ain't doing that shit." Right? I was wrestled there for 5 years. Never reached my goals. Never All-American. Never became a national champion like I wanted to. And I still had that competitive itch. I graduated college, was enrolled in grad school to become a physician's assistant, went to a summer school to do like a prereq to get into school, and it was like chemistry. And I was like, yo, fuck this. I just did school for 5 years.
Exactly.
I don't know if I want to go to school any longer. I had our assistant wrestling coach who was like, hey, man, I think you'd be good at fighting. I was like, I still want to compete. And so I dropped out of school, packed my truck up, and moved to Sacramento and said, fuck it. I'll give myself a year. If I'm any good at the sport, I'll stick with it. If not, I can always go back to school. So That's kind of how that all started.
That's so insane to me that you only had a year of striking training before you became a pro, basically.
Well, no,
right?
I became a pro in 3 months.
What? Okay, sorry.
So I graduated college. What are you, 23? Decided to get into MMA in like October of 2009. Took my first fight in like January of 2010. Right?
That's insane.
But mainly with just like the background of wrestling and just
Yeah.
knowing that you can dominate some fights with that, right? And then I'll pick up the other skills as I go. I'll get some wins, build a name, and then pick up wins as I go. But I moved to a place to where the best in the world at my weight class were training, like Uriah Faber's gym, Alpha Male.
Yep.
If you're 155 pounds or below, like the who's who trained there, right? Maybe not the champions yet, but like the 2, 3, 4 in the world were there. So I decided if I'm going to be any good, I might as well test myself against the best, right? I remember
Jump straight in the deep end.
dude, listen to this. This shit's crazy. So I dropped out of school, told my girlfriend, which is not my wife, but like it was my girlfriend. It's like, all right, I'm going to make this a go. I'm going to drive up to Uriah Faber said he'd let me stay at one of his houses. He had a room for me to stay at, you know, because he was a college wrestler as well too. And I'm going to go up there and give this thing a shot, right? So I pack all my shit up in my Tacoma, go up there, show up, and he like didn't really remember who I was, right? He told me that shit and it was like, he's got a lot going on. And he's like, oh yeah, had to call someone. He was like, yeah, you can stay on a couch at one of my houses. So it's like, started living on the couch for like 6 months. But my first day of practice, I remember showing up and I go full live sparring, like boxing sparring with Joseph Benavidez, which was a 135 pounder, number 3 in the world at the time. And I just remember
And it's
being
your first sparring session?
ever. Yeah. I just don't even know how to throw a punch. I'm just going for it. Right.
They just know that you're a badass wrestler, so you'll handle it. That's what they're, because to
Yeah.
throw you in there like that is,
Wild.
that's kind of crazy,
'Cause
right?
It starts off on your feet. I mean, it's
well, we did boxing sparring. It wasn't like I was doing any wrestling.
Oh, gotcha.
But it had been done before. It had been done multiple times at that gym, like Chad Mendez. As soon as he got done with college, boom, went to Alpha Male, took a fight in like 3 months.
Also, this isn't an anomaly. This is like, this has been done before where people get
This is what
thrown
they
in.
do. Yeah, this is what. Like,
Oh, to test you.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna
If you
make
get
this,
knocked out, you should leave.
Well, it's just kind of like when you're a D1 wrestler, you're one of the most mental, toughest athletes that's out there. Like I still to this day, all the other martial arts I've done, wrestling, college wrestling is by far the hardest thing I've ever done. And if you can make it through a season and be a good wrestler, then you're going to be a hell of a good fighter if you're athletic. There's a lot of wrestlers that aren't very athletic. They're probably not going to be that great at fighters. But if you're athletic and you're a wrestler and you got that mentality, you got a great chance to make it.
is the weight cutting and the training and all that like horrible for college wrestling or not so much?
It was harder in wrestling than it is in fighting. So wrestling, it's like a 6-month season, and sometimes you're making weight every week, and a lot of times you make weight an hour before you compete.
Spit in the bottles, all that stuff.
Back in the day, we were doing it dumb as
Plastic
shit,
bags.
doing it stupid, right?
I used to have to do that too.
I
It
learned
sucks.
I learned how not to do that. Like I've learned very professionally now how I cut weight. It's way different. But back then it was like, yeah, well, no one knew what they were doing. We just didn't eat, didn't drink, worked out hard, spit in a cup, wear some plastics.
My
Pretty much
dad,
just kill yourself.
That's his plan. Like, you got to cut 4 pounds. You got 40 minutes. Like, all right. Plastic bags, sweaters, and you just start crawling. It's the worst feeling on earth. You're like, I haven't eaten in 3 days, man.
Yeah. Then you're expected to weigh in and compete in an hour, right? So back then it was a lot tougher. When you get into fighting, you get 24 hours, right? So
Oh, yeah, true. The way in that. Yeah.
yeah, so when I'm fighting 135s, for instance, like usually in fight camp, I'm walking around like high 50s, like 58, 160. I show up 5 days before the fight, usually at like 150, like 15 pounds over.
Damn, in 5 days.
But I know that if I'm 15 pounds over, I've made the weight because now I'm going to hyperhydrate. I'm like drinking a ton of water. My body thinks it's drowning. It like floods the water out of me. I can get into it, it'd be a long breakdown. But I weigh in at 135s, and I'm only on weight for like an hour, maybe, right? Once I weigh in, boom, I'm rehydrating. The night I walk into the cage, I usually walk in at like 152. So I'm usually like 17 pounds heavier than what I weighed in at.
The day before.
Yeah, so I weigh in at 35s, and I usually fight, like we'll say 30 hours later at 152.
It seems impossible. How are you doing that besides water?
It's mainly all water, right? Food hardly weighs anything, right? It's mainly all just water. So when I weigh 150, I know, and I'm hydrated, I know that I've made weight through my coach's algorithm that he's putting together, right? So what I do a week before my fight, if I weigh 150 and I'm drinking that day, so if I weigh 150, I'll drink 2.5 gallons or over 2 gallons of water on that day. Which, if you're drinking 2 gallons of water, you're peeing every 15 minutes. You can start doing a small workout, you'll sweat like crazy. And then 6 days out, I'll drink 1.75 gallons. And then 5 days out, I'll drink 1.5 gallons or 1.25 gallons, depending what I weigh. 4 days, it keeps whittling its way down until like, I don't know, 24 hours before you're drinking maybe 16 ounces, but your body still thinks it's hyperhydrated. Like you're too hydrated. Your body's very smart. It thinks you're going to die from drinking too much water. So it makes you pee a lot. It makes you sweat easy. The morning of weigh-ins, I'll I'll sit in a sauna for about 15 minutes, put some coconut oil on to like block my pores. I'll start sweating. Once I start breaking that sweat, I'll put on plastics. I'll put on my sweatpants, my sweatshirts, and bundle up. And then I'll walk on just walk on a treadmill for like 40 minutes, and I'll lose 7 pounds. Yeah.
This is down to you said an algorithm. I never heard someone say an algorithm about the human before.
Yeah,
this is down to a science.
Yeah, my coach follows like my recovery while I sleep. He's following my weight, like everything. I mean, when there's money involved and there's fame and all this shit,
it's like an Ivan Drago situation.
It gets a lot more serious
for all the people with the clipboards on it.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it turns into a different game when you start making money. Like when you're wrestling and there's no money in it, it's kind of like you just do it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I love hearing the behind. Because my family, I mean, my dad wrestled. I wrestled. My cousin placed in one state recently.
Oh, nice.
Super, my homie. Every time I could say my cousin won state, I could say it, man. I love that fool. Yeah. And so I grew up in this. I watched it. My dad, since I was a kid, like I said, watch UFC, go to Blockbuster. We bet change. We would bet change. Bags of cans. Like, well, look, if you turn it in, it's $5. Yeah. You know, one of those kids. We grew up in the country a little bit in Merced. So, hearing the background of this is on a different level. I've only heard what you said. It's wrestling. There's no money involved.
Yeah.
Hearing money involved, you're a commodity at this point, and your health is literally your money.
Is the value of it?
Yeah, I'm the CEO of TJ Dillashaw, right? So whatever's going to get me to the top, what's ever going to make me make the weight, be in the best shape, have the best coaches. Like, I don't get signed by the NFL, and I don't have a team that's set for me. I have to find my own team. I have to find my own coaches. I got to find my own nutritionists, and so you get to make the choices of who you're going to train with, who your coaches are going to be, like how you're going to do it all, right? So when there's money involved, you find, if you're smart, you're going to find the best of the best, you know?
So I haven't heard that before. You said compared to football, they give you your team. So what is the comparison from your sport? You said it's basically independent. You build your own team. Yeah. So other sports, they're given a team, like a health and nutrition. I've never heard this before.
So they're employees, right? So if you get signed by the Raiders, you're an employee of the Raiders, right? Me, I'm an independent contractor.
That's the difference.
Which sucks, to be honest. We kind of get fucked because of it, because we don't got health insurance, we don't have pensions, we don't have retirements.
You don't have health insurance for the most deadly sport in the world?
Yeah, like they'll cover us. Like if you get in a fight, if you get injured, they cover you for like 30 days. Like, so if I that's why a lot of fighters will go into fights injured.
So they get covered?
So yeah, but which sucks. It's like you're going into the fight, you're like, you should get that shit covered already. But then they'll claim it after their fight. Like even if I was like, I chipped a tooth or something, right? It's like, oh yeah, it happened in the fight. And then like
pull my mouth guard
dental,
out.
you know, like.
But yeah,
you gotta game plan this.
Other athletes get guaranteed salaries. They get
401ks,
retirement plans.
Yeah, all that stuff, right?
Oh, I didn't know this didn't come with it.
I bet eventually that'll have to happen. But yeah, we're all independent contractors.
They have longer careers generally.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bag on it too much.
But I mean, like, that was one of my questions. Like, all those factors compared to other pro athletes, you know, it seems like the UFC gets in the way so much, or like they could do so much more to like nurture their stars or nurture the fighters to keep them around or keep them happier longer. But as a fan, it feels like, oh, the UFC feels like they're just a monopoly, so they can kind of do what they want. But in the long term of the sport, if you're a kid coming up and you're super athletic and you have options, the fighters are putting the most on the line.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's so hard for them to get paid like an NFL player, you got to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
You could get cut at any time, or even if you're amazing for all these years. Like, why would you want to go into the sport? And you get brain damage. Like,
just the love of it, the competing of it. The sport's getting so popular. Now you got to remember too, like, even though how big UFC is, it's still in its infancy stages. You know what I mean? Like, it still has like, eventually there'll be something that's going to make it so that the fighters have health insurance and this and that, whatever it may be. I'm not going to talk too much shit because the UFC has done something that is great, and if you're smart enough to capitalize on it, you can have a very flourishing life, right? So they do a good job of promoting the athlete, the fighter, like building a fan base. Like I have way more followers on Instagram than most football players will ever have because the UFC has done a very good job of promoting TJ Dillashaw, right? Because the more fans I have, the more people are going to watch my pay-per-views, the more money they make. But as they build up me, the independent contractor, now I can get my foot into doors and come do podcasts and talk about my brands. Like right now, since I've retired, I've gotten involved in building my own nutrition line, right? And having my own following, like I'm able to, and me knowing what I'm talking about, I built a company called Wild Society Nutrition. Our first to market, we rolled out in Sprouts Farmers Market. I didn't even sell it online, nothing. The first place I sold it
was Sprouts
Farmers Market, nationwide, 417 doors. Amazing. We just rolled out July 1st. And because of my following, and obviously the product speaks for its own. I brought some for you guys, but it speaks for its own. It's the greatest products, and I can go into that. But I built a name for myself, and I can advertise it. That's the way I was able to get into these doors. Like most people have to build the brand, build the name up, like have a big DTC sell, and then grocery stores are like, hey, we want your brand. But because I had a following, and luckily like some of the buyers at Sprouts are fans of mine. Yeah,
you can just use it to leverage.
Yeah, so use your name smartly.
But it has to be a good product. Obviously, like you said, it's the best product.
Yeah, I can't give it
has to speak for itself.
Yeah, of course. But now we just rolled out into Sprouts Farmers Market July 1st. We've been number 4 in sales for 4 weeks straight.
Wow.
You know, so
wow, congratulations, man.
Killing it. Thank you.
So I watched a clip of Rampage asking you about a business venture. You said, I don't want to talk about it yet. Is this it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I know it was a Flavor Republic.
That was
also
Spice Company.
But that was before that episode. So I was like, I wasn't sure. So I wanted to ask that because I saw that clip and it just kind of sparked curiosity.
Yeah, there's always these opportunities to take advantage of business while you're fighting, but it's really hard. Like for me, like I don't want to just put my face on something and say it's mine, right? So now that I've been retired and actually have the time, I'm doing everything. I'm on every fucking call. I'm talking to buyers. I'm helping with marketing. I'm building the products.
You're CEO of this now.
And so I'm treating this nutrition line how I treated my career. Right, I'm going to find the best marketers, help me do the best ads. I'm going to find the best manufacturers to make the best products that fit my lifestyle. And so now that I'm fully invested into it, and I can see the growth right under my hand, it's been awesome, man.
Congratulations! You said for the past 4, so July was the best month for you.
Yeah, July 1st we rolled out, and 4 weeks straight we've been number 1 in sales. Yeah,
and that's whey protein, energy drinks.
So right now we got in Sprouts alone we have 5 protein powders, 2 different kinds of concentrate and isolate. So a whey protein concentrate is like more of a whole protein. It's kind of like a meal replacement. It has the good fats. It's got good carbohydrates. It's got no sugar, 25 grams of protein. And then we added mushrooms to it, like organic mushrooms, a reishi, cordyceps, and a shrub called erythro. It's got all these adaptogens that are going to help you perform better, reduce stress, like a bunch of great things.
If there's anybody in the world that should be selling a body supplement, something that helps you get better, it's you.
I appreciate it, man.
No, if you really think about it, just the way he broke down the algorithm of your body, it's really cool. There was one UFC fight I used to watch when I was a kid. I remember the commentators talking about he only eats for fuel. Do you remember Sean Shirk?
Oh yeah, the muscle shark. Just trash. Yeah,
just literal shark attacking and then just leaving.
Yeah,
the guy was a monster. But when I was a kid, I remember that was the man. And then the specimen. What was his name? The guy from Hawaii, I believe, the specimen.
Oh, no, it wasn't BJ Penn.
No, he would the big man. He threw. It's before the weight classes.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah,
that was bad.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's. I love that you said blog. I keep going back to it. No one's ever said that. You've heard me say how many times.
Yeah, man. I've been a fan of the UFC for a long time before anyone really was, right? So. But on your point, we got isolates, we got concentrates, we have energy drinks that are out that'll be in Sprouts in November, but they're out on our website.
And what's the website?
wildsocietynutrition.com. We also just rolled out onto Amazon, so Amazon's going to be a real big push for us. Amazon actually approached us too, which was cool. Wow. I think someone was a fan of mine at Amazon. It was like, saw your guys' ads. Like, you guys are killing it. Like, we'd love you on Amazon. So we just rolled out on Amazon. We're getting our Prime badge. I haven't even posted about it yet, but you guys will be the first release of that. But we'll be getting our Prime badge soon. But yeah, energy drinks. We're going to have liver capsules from our own cattle out of Montana.
What is liver capsules?
So eating liver is really good for you. Like the same reason why animals like a lion or a coyote, when they kill something, they eat the organs first, right? So it's got the most nutrition in it, right?
That's
so,
right. They do eat this in stomach first.
Yeah, they eat the guts first. They
Never
eat the
thought about
organs
that.
because it's got like good iron in it. It's got all the great vitamins your body needs to feel. So instead of me taking iron to increase my iron, I like to take liver. But no one really likes to eat liver, right? It doesn't taste very good. It's hard to prepare. It's not that great. So you can buy them in liver capsules. And so you're taking, they're like dehydrated liver. So I take 6 capsules a day. And then we've combined it with vitamin C, because vitamin C is going to help help you absorb like the iron and the vitamins that come along with it as well.
I feel like there's expert. I need to ask questions here, man. I feel like there's stuff.
I've been like really going deep on nerding out on this stuff the past couple months, like listening to Andrew Huberman and trying
He's
to
a great
like
one to listen to.
really, for the first time in my life, pay attention to my like calorie intake and output and how much I'm burning and like protein. I'm vegetarian. He's vegan. So understanding how much,
Not as much anymore,
it's
but yeah.
hard for me to like, damn, I'm trying to get 150, 200 grams of protein in. If I'm trying to gain muscle, that's a lot when you really start adding it up. Is there any sort of either tips or myths, I was wondering, like things people commonly think when it comes to losing weight, gaining muscle? The more I study this shit, the more I'm like, wow, there's so much information out here. I was friends with Dolce for a while, and he made it like, bro, it's so simple. He's like, it's literally so simple. It's 85% your diet. You base it around whole foods. It's the calories, whatever. Now I'm just trying to like take it. I'm trying to be really deliberate. You seem like somebody, you're monitoring everything. I just started to pay attention to my blood work to try to know what's going on with it. And
Marty's
like,
a grown up now.
Yeah,
I'm right behind him.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
You get in your 30s and you got to
exactly.
do it, bro. Yeah.
Like I want to just be aware of what's going on, so it's not a mystery. You don't have some health issue pop up.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my first question is like, is there a reason why you're a vegetarian?
I mean, really, it was kind of like a moral thing from when I was a kid. My mom kind of like raised me like that. I was never really, see, I'm all good with hunters. I'm just not a hunter.
Yeah.
If I'm not ready to go kill the animal out there, then I'm not into factory farming. I don't like the whole idea of that. I feel it just kind of grosses me out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I were going to eat meat, I would go to a hunter and get it, or I would at least try to get as close to the wild animal as I could.
Yeah.
Just because I get grossed out by factory farming. That's basically it.
Yeah, but you've been vegetarian since you was a kid.
Gotcha.
It's different. It's for me. It's only been like 8-9 years. I just do it because I was like, oh, I'm feel bad.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
I don't count calories. I don't dive into my macros too much other than my protein, right? The whole reason why I created protein powders as well too. So I'm trying to put on weight. I'm trying to put on muscle mass. And so you kind of want to eat to your goals, right? And even if you don't want to gain weight, you want to lose fat, then you got to increase your protein content, right? So I eat about 200 grams of protein a day. It's very easy to do so when I'm eating red meats. Like I had last night a 14-ounce ribeye that has 80 grams of protein, right? I make a couple of my like protein drinks. I'm like, it's easy, right? But being a vegetarian is gonna be really hard to get that protein you need. But so if you want to like, you got to increase your protein for anything. If you want to lose fat, if you want to put on muscle, like the easiest way to lose fat is by putting on muscle, because it takes more energy to burn, or it takes more energy to have muscle in your body than it does fat, right? Because it takes energy to make those muscles work. So if you want to lift heavy and eat a ton of protein, you'll actually end up losing more fat than you would by running all the time, right? So
that's kind of like counterintuitive, and I've been hearing more and more people say that, because like I'm kind of training for a marathon, so I want to get in both.
Yeah.
Like I want to make sure I have my cardio, but I'm also trying to like lose like 10, 20 pounds too, before I even, before the year's up. So I'm trying to mix it up, like between, I've been doing the boxing conditioning classes and they do the weights, and then I'll be on the squat rack and the bench press one day. Then like, I try to get on like 6 days a week, one day on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, am I wasting my time on the elliptical and on the treadmill? Everybody says you just walk for 45 minutes or whatever.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you're training for a marathon, you obviously or triathlon, whatever you do, you have to do that, right? Like you have to train the energy system you need to finish that triathlon, finish that marathon, whatever it may be. But if you're doing it just for the way you look and how you feel, and I mean, too much cardio is kind of a waste of time, to be honest. I mean, I do it. It's healthy for you. And you kind of want to do what we call a low base cardio. And for me, so again, I measure all my shit. I know exactly when my body starts burning carbs for energy. So I burn fat. Well, it depends where I'm at with my training camp, but when I first start camp, I'm at like I burn fat for energy, I'm up to 141 beats per minute. Anytime I get over that, I start burning carbs. And when you're burning carbs, you're producing lactic acid and like you're breaking down some muscle and using muscle for energy. But if I'm staying under that 140, I'm doing nothing but burning fat the whole time. So and that will change by the better shape you get in. When I'm in like the end of fight camp is closer to like 158. Then the better thing of that too is that once you start putting like lactic acid, that's when you start getting tired. So if I'm not getting tired till my heart rate reaches 158, I have more cardio in the long term, right? So
I didn't realize all this factored in like that.
Yeah,
they
man.
don't teach you this in PE. That's all we do is sit there about our body.
Right.
They never taught me any of this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't learn, dude. When I first started fighting, I didn't give a shit about what, like I used to make fun of one of my teammates when he was gluten-free way before it was like a thing. I'd be like, oh, give me his gluten, I'll eat it. I was world champion. I was 28 years old. Like figured if I ate whatever I wanted, just train harder than the next guy. It's like, whatever. Got into my 30s, wasn't the case. And I met a new coach that kind of really like took my training to the new level, took my physique to the whole new level. His name's Sam Calavita of the Training Lab. That's when I got into my diet. That's when I got into supplementation. That's when I got into rest days and the way to train and how to do low base. I mean, this guy's a straight genius. And he taught me so much that I'm carrying on in my life, and I'm starting a whole company around it now too. So,
please, can you give me some advice on this? Like, like he said, vegan, all that. I just stopped years ago. I've been taking, actual protein powders that are not vegan anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't eat meat. I don't eat cheese and stuff like that. I'm just good right now. How am I going to supplement this? Is there supplements out there that are not vegetarian? That's okay with me right now. That are not vegetarian, that I can get more protein. Because like, I feel it. I used to do weightlifting competitions in school. I used to do powerlifting, and I can't hit 250. And I feel like an old man in my body. I'm not old. I feel like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Been in bed for 10 days. I feel like.
I mean, yeah, taking a whey proteins, a concentrate in an isolate. There's different times to take them. A concentrate's going to have, like I said, have more of like the good fats with it, the carbs that come along with it. You can use it as a meal replacement, right? Because it's like a full meal. And then when you're working out, you want to use an isolate right when you get done working out, because it's the reason why it's called an isolate. They break it down to just the protein, but it's the one that absorbs the fastest in your body.
You want it after the workout,
and it feeds your muscles like right away, and it's got the right branch chain amino acids in you as well too. So there's times to use both.
The timing matters, and when you're like taking it, not so much.
Not really. Well, so when I'm trying to put on muscle mass, I will take my concentrate about an hour and a half before I go to bed. I usually make some like ice cream out of it, or I'll drink like my chocolate, make like a chocolate milk out of it. And I'll drink that about an hour and a half before I go to bed, because the protein synthesis breaks down slower with the concentrate because of the fats and the carbs that are with it. That'll take like 6 hours for it to break down. So I'm breaking it down while I'm sleeping. So I'm not sleeping for 8 hours without protein synthesis happening. Isolate breaks down right away. So I want to fuel my body right after a workout with an isolate.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's like the quadratic formula, man. Just gonna write all this down.
Yeah, your listeners are probably like, "Oh, dude, okay."
No,
they're all going to school for this.
They're all writing it down. Because
Last
this is
question.
hard.
Yeah, you're good.
I've heard you mention peptides, and you do like Instagram videos. What is a peptide? How does it rebuild your brain? I heard neuroregenerative.
There's definitely for that as well too. You have, I don't even know how many, like millions of peptides in your body. Peptides are a combination of branched chain amino acids. Think about a ladder, right? And if you have a link missing, that ladder, you can't continue no more. It's like adding links to your ladders, right? So, for instance, like if say you want more growth hormone in your body because it helps you lose fat, put on muscle mass, helps you heal and recover and get into deep sleep, you could take a peptide called tesamorelin.
Sounds great.
Yeah, exactly. So tesamorelin is something that it's a peptide that's naturally created in your body, but what it does is it tells your pituitary gland in your brain to produce more growth hormone naturally. You're not giving yourself growth hormone. You're taking a peptide that tells your brain to produce more of it. There's like a BPC 157 and TB 500. Those are like what they call the Wolverine drugs.
They sound like Terminator.
Yeah,
Right.
they're for healing, right? So I had surgery. I've had a bunch. I've had 16 surgeries, and so after those surgeries
from your career,
yeah,
16 surgeries.
Yeah. But from those, so like for instance, BPC 157 increases your growth hormone receptors and helps fight inflammation, and TB 500 will create more vascularity within your body. So it's like the perfect recipe for healing. I started working with a company called Transcend that has helped out a bunch with that. Like they'll send someone to your house, you do your blood work, they send it to their doctors, they'll read your blood work and be like, hey man, what's your goals? Be like, hey, I want to get in better shape, I want to sleep better, I want Dihexa will help your brain, right? Like things like that. And then they'll write out a protocol for you, and they'll, if as long as you're doing the blood work and you're healthy, they'll ship you the peptides to your house.
All right, so that sounds incredible. So peptide, and you say the other one that helps inflammation. So would people with arthritis, would this benefit? Okay, because my wife has arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. I'm just thinking, if it stops inflammation and helps you heal, wouldn't it help? Inflammatory like diseases.
Like exactly. Yeah. Well, especially the TB and the BPC 157, that would definitely help. The biggest thing for your wife with that would be your diet.
Yeah, since she stopped
staying away from sugar and grains.
Yeah. It's been like 5-7 years since she's even gone to the doctor about it.
Nice, good.
Yeah, but just she cut out like the fake cheese. Yeah. Like we make macaroni, like, yo, that shit sucks. And she stopped drinking sodas and stuff. So
I've been researching the PMF mats that I see you've been using. How do you feel about that?
What is that?
So the
PEMF, yeah.
I don't really know what they're doing. My goofy understanding is that they're like pulling ions from the earth.
Negative ions. Yeah, you're grounding. So we're like meant to walk earth with no shoes on, right? So you're supposed to get these negative ions that are going to help you ground yourself.
Yeah, the mat with the feet print.
Yeah. Right? Oh, well, these mats you like lay on them, right? I even have a grounding sheet that I sleep on to add negative ions to your body. Yeah, it helps a lot. Yeah, that with I think I posted a video. My last one actually I just posted was like all the shit that I do for recovery. Like I got a PEMF mat. I do EWOT, which is exercise with oxygen therapy. It's like
the mask on.
You have you're doing a VO2 max, but you're actually doing the opposite of VO2 max. You're pumping 98% oxygen in your body while you're working out. I do like 5 or 6 hard sprints. It forces oxygen into your body, which oxygen is going to alkaline your body and like do a lot of great things. And then I'll finish it off with a red light therapy, which will help with my mitochondria and a bunch of great shit. I mean, great for your skin, great for your mitochondria, a lot of cool stuff. And started doing all that with Da Vinci Medical. I got a hyperbaric chamber that I go and I sit in for like 90 minutes, like 3 or 4 days a week.
At the house?
Yeah. I bought my own hyperbaric chamber. Wow. I got the cold plunge. I got sauna. I mean, I kind of got a full blown recovery.
Your body is your bit. It's so awesome to hear. Like you can just do this, and it doesn't. You don't have to be an athlete. You can just do it because you could be I always say, like, I want my stats on my character to be 99.
This is what I'm doing. Yeah.
And this is the only person I've ever met where it's like,
who's really
you're topping out at 99.9, man.
How many hours a day is fitness and recovery in your day?
It's gotten harder now that I'm a bit like entrepreneur, right? Like business takes over life. I'm trying to make that cheddar, right? Trying to chase dreams.
And it's new.
Yeah. The same way I chase dreams with fighting is what I'm doing right now with business. But I still work out. I lift weights probably 4 days a week. I probably do cardio 1 day a week.
What does that mean? What does cardio mean?
I usually like to do my cardio running. It's easiest to control my heart rate because I like to do that low base for the most part, unless I'm doing sprints or something. But for the most part, I like to do that low base training. I like to keep my heart rate about 140. So that's like running. For me, it's like running like 9.5 minute mile times, chilling. I can have a conversation. The best way, instead of not having to dive into the science of like where your crossover point's at, the best way to call it low base or zone 2 training would be you can have a conversation while doing it.
While jogging.
Right? Which some of those people might just be walking. Like your zone 2 might be when you're just walking and shit. Go out there and do that for 45 minutes to an hour. I do like once a week, and that's going to help my body continue to burn fat for energy rather than carbs. I'd say 99.9% of people in the United States burn 100% carbs at rest because of our diet, because of stress, because of lack of sleep, and whatever it may be.
Yeah. So that was the one tip that helped me do my first marathon.
Yeah.
Because as long as you can manage that, you can really go forever. You don't realize that. Nobody tells you that.
Yeah.
Just keep it at a pace where you can talk.
Yeah. I mean, that zone 2 training, like what we're talking about right now, is pretty much the bottom of your pyramid, right? And if that's very small, then I'm going to start reaching my lactic threshold a lot sooner, and I'm going to gas out. But if I have all this heartbeat that I can use to burn fat and not produce lactic acid yet, now my gains are a lot further. Like I can go harder for a lot longer.
That makes sense.
What's up, guys? Taking a moment to talk about our longest sponsor of the show. This is Manscaped. Shout out to Manscaped for supporting the Dope as Usual podcast since the start. Do us a favor. If you're going to use Manscaped, make sure you use our code. Go to manscaped.com/YOLA. That's going to get you 20% off your whole order and free shipping. As you know, when it comes to keeping your balls clean, Manscaped is there for you. And you know Manscaped is always upgrading. So here it is, introducing the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. It comes with the Lawnmower 5.0. That's the groin groomer. Weed Whacker 2.0. Crop Soother, Crop Preserver. That's deodorant for your balls, and a Magic Mat. Magic Mats are something new to us, and those are disposable shaving mats. And you know, Manscaped's awesome, so there's 2 free gifts. That's the Performance Package Boxers and the travel bag. Also, we haven't talked about this much, but the Peak Hygiene Plan. Fresh blade refills and a product of your choice, $19.99 for 3 months. So every 3 months, like a subscription plan, it'll come in. You never have to worry. Once again, if you're interested at all, go to manscaped.com/YOLA or use the code YOLA at checkout, 20% off plus free shipping. As always, thank you so much for Manscaped for supporting the show, and thank you for supporting the brands that support us. Just taking a quick moment to talk about our sponsor, MyBookie. First off, thank you to MyBookie for sponsoring this episode. We appreciate you. For everyone out there that's been using our code, shout out to you. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the brands that support us. So what you want to do is head over to MyBookie and use our code Dope as Usual. Once you use our code, for the first time signing up, MyBookie will match you no matter what the bet is on your first bet. You got $500 to spend, they will match you $500. Also, you get a $10 casino chip, turn it into more. Remember, it's not just betting on sports. MyBookie has a live casino. It's Vegas in your pocket. MyBookie, you can bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. And the reason they say that is because now you can bet on the presidential election. Also, you can bet on the Olympics. I was watching the Olympics yesterday. The Olympics are awesome. And now with MyBookie, you can watch the Olympics and possibly win some money. So shout out to MyBookie for doing all this. Thank you so much. So do yourself a favor. Head to MyBookie. Use our code Dope as Usual. On your first bet, MyBookie will match you no matter what it is, up to $1,000. This is the TJ Dillashaw episode, our first UFC fighter in the studio today. So we'll get his opinion on UFC 305 and where we should be placing our bets. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting. Back to the episode. I always wonder when I was watching The Ultimate Fighter, how do you audition for that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I was obviously on it back in 2011, so I don't know how it is now. Actually, I do, because I coached it so many times too. But back when I was on it, it was the first time they did 145s and 135s ever in the UFC. UFC just bought WEC. And so the first time they had the weight class was for the Ultimate Fighter. So a bunch of small dudes like myself.
Can we say it? You're not a small person. Can we talk about this real quick?
Okay.
When you walked in, that's him. Holy shit, you're not small.
Well, I'm 180 pounds now. It's a little different story. Yeah.
I'm not even now. You're not small. Do you? Marty's pretty tall. I'm not.
I pictured a 135-pound dude.
Pictured.
That's crazy that you fluctuate. You can fluctuate.
Well, I never walked around this heavy when I was fighting. When I was fighting, I was normally like 160 to 155, somewhere in between there is what I'd walk around naturally. But because you're training 2 or 3 times a day, like I can't put weight on. Now I can just meathead out, eat as much protein and get as big as I want because I ain't making weight. So I walk around a little bit bigger now. Can you really tell the difference in your opponent if they're 5 pounds, 10 pounds, if they're like a little bit heavier or not? While you're competing, oh yeah. So if a man's 10 pounds heavier than you and you're in there competing, it's a big difference that like his will to push his weight against you, or even like the force behind punches and all that stuff. It'll make a difference. Yeah. But the Ultimate Fighter, before I forget, so a bunch of us small dudes. It was like we went to a hotel ballroom and we packed in. You had to be invited to this too. Thousands of little guys to come compete. So what they do is they watch you hit mitts, you do like a minute of grappling real quick, and then the most important part, they want to make sure you know what you're doing, but then they interview you in groups. They come you in the beginning, they interview you, and they want to make sure you're entertaining, right? Because they're going to lock you in a house for 6 to 8 weeks without your cell phone, no books, like nothing to do. You have no TV. They'll give you whatever food and whatever liquor you want to drink for 6 or 8 weeks, right? And they lock you in a mansion with the other guys you're competing with. So they want to make sure you're going to be entertaining. They don't want just some stick in the mud because he's not going to help ratings, right?
That's true.
So that helps when it comes to that TV show. But obviously they want the most skilled at the same time. I think now, from what I've seen from coaching and stuff too, they kind of have a feel on the circuit and who's out there and who's on the up and coming. That's why they do Dana White's Contender Series as well too, is that like they have a lot of eyes out watching the sport and like, hey, this guy's coming up, let's put him on the show, right? And they still worry about entertainment factor as well too. Yeah. But for the most part, they do a lot more Dana White Contender Series now than they do the Ultimate Fighter.
It's really it's like the NFL training camp.
Yeah.
You do all the I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought
Yeah,
maybe
it's like a combine. Yeah. I mean, we're not
awesome.
like they're not timing our sprints and stuff, but they are watching us, like making sure we can perform. Right. Like you'll shadow box, you'll hit mitts, you'll grapple, and then see how you can talk. At least when I was there. Yeah.
Would you say like you're known for training super hard? Like you're known for your legendary like gym workouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Are the majority of the other fighters training that hard, or are you like
1%?
I'm definitely towards the top of it. I don't think, I mean, because I've traveled the world and I've trained with a lot of fighters. There are some guys that work as hard as me. It's far and few in between. And I've tried to stick to the guys that work as hard as I do, because I know if they can push me, I can continue to push myself to new levels. And that's why I found the coach I found. But no, I'd say I'm probably like the top percentages of it that does it. And I'm not, some of it's smart, some of it's probably not. It's just my mentality and who I am. And I have to kind of do it, unfortunately, because I think you can definitely overtrain. You also can train yourself into injuries, right? Just going too hard all the time. And I've, like I said, I had 16 surgeries throughout my career. Most of them from training camps, not fights, right? So yeah, you can push too hard a lot of times, you know.
That leads to one of my other main questions that I was hoping to like kind of get some insight, because we never talked to a real fighter before. How do you manage, like, it's your guys' pain threshold is so far past a regular human, not even comparable. What is it? Is it your inner dialogue? Is it that you're used to getting hit more? What allows you to push through and fight with a dislocated shoulder,
Great
fight
question.
with a broke knee, knowing my nose is broke? He's going to keep hitting it.
Yeah, I think it's just the will to win. Like, we're all just competitive dogs, right? Like, if my will's greater, I'm going to be able to withhold more of a threshold of pain. Something that I want something so bad that I'm willing to fucking lose an arm for it. Like, I still can't raise my arm today. Like, I can't raise my arm up. I've had 6 surgeries on it, and unfortunately I'm still kind of stuck in this position. That's why I've been forced to retire, because I really fucked myself up. But I wanted something so bad that I was willing to push through it, you know? Like, okay, perfect example, the toughest fight I've ever been in because of this was my Sandhagen fight back in July of 2021. A guy that I trained with, I knew he was super good, and I knew he's my shot to get my title fight. I went out there and was beating him up in the first round. The last 10 seconds of that first round, we got into a scramble, and I blew my knee out, like bad, like really, really. I blew every ligament in my knee, like just destroyed it. Go back, like I finished, like I feel everything just destroyed, rip out, right? And it was painful. But obviously my will to win was more than the pain. But I went back to my corner. I was like, man, my knee's fucked. My coach was like, forget about it. Can't think about it. Let's go. You know, like, yeah, you're right. And so my footwork sucked the next round. And then I get a big fucking gash in my forehead from getting cut open. And like, to be honest, I didn't feel most of it.
Your adrenaline's so high?
Yeah, the adrenaline and just the will, right? Like, like I said, I'm willing to win. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to win. I have no fucking quit in me. Like, I don't care how tired I am. I don't care if my knee, like, I'd try to lift the guy in there and my knee would dislocate, right? And I had to, like, oh shit, and put him back down. I would do, like, me in my last fight, I probably dislocated my shoulder a good 20 times in that training camp. If I would have been younger in my career and maybe the circumstances were different, I would have pulled out of the fight, right? But it was like 36 years old. I'm going to go get surgery for the fucking 4th time. Who knows if it's going to be put back together ever again the same, and am I going to get a title shot again? So I said, and the guy that I was fighting had horrible striking, so I only needed one arm, I thought. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck it. I only need one arm to beat this guy. We're good, man. So, yeah, it's just, I think just like to your point, just the will, right?
A gladiator is what I'm hearing. These guys are just gladiators. Doesn't matter if your arm's chopped off.
I mean, part of you wants to say it's like how you feed your family, but it goes beyond that, right? Because I could find some other way to feed my family. It's like, it's more so that I want to be the best in the fucking world. And you know, like, I've just competed since I was 8 years old wrestling. And that's why I say I think wrestlers have the best background for fighting, just because of everything we go through. The training is second to none. The competition's like 6 to 9 months long. You're wrestling every weekend. Like, it's a grind, you know?
100%.
Yeah, I'm a very casual fan, but when I saw what Khabib did to McGregor in that fight in particular, that really made me be like, there's really no question.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get off your back and he's wrapped you up like a boa constrictor, there's nothing. None of your skills really matter.
Yeah,
Exactly.
There was a fight this weekend that I just went and talked about in Jackson podcast. The title fight against Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah.
Muhammad just took him down with like a wet blanket on him.
Yeah.
Just, laid on him for 4 rounds. Yeah, it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but he imposed his will and he got the belt, and more power to him,
What was your reaction when he spiked him on his head 90-degree angle?
Yeah, man. Like, I'm surprised that didn't hurt Leon a little bit more. I mean, he didn't intentionally. So it's illegal to spike someone on their head.
Oh, I didn't know
Like,
that.
you can't do that intentionally, but it wasn't like an intentional, like, spiking him right on his head. But yeah, it looked like it hurt. Yeah, it definitely didn't look like it felt good. I mean, he lifted him all the way in the air, went to go take him down, just like right on top of his head,
Question. You said this is the biggest you ever been.
Yeah.
Shoulders perfect. You're ready to go. Would you fight at this weight?
100%. No, I wouldn't fight it this way because I wouldn't be this weight if I was training. If I'm training 2 or 3 times a day, I'm going to be back down to 160.
That's true. Well, if the opportunity came and you had to put on 20 pounds, would you see yourself trying to move different weight classes?
It'd be nice to fight 145s, right? To go up one weight class. But again, like, I just, because of the work ethic, like if I'm going to get into a fight, I'm not going to take it half-ass. I'm going to train my fucking ass off to do it. And by doing so, I'm naturally going to lose weight.
So it's just, that's what your body peak weight is.
My frame for who I am, my frame is, probably I could fight higher. Like Frankie Edgar has like the same frame as I do.
Yeah.
And that guy was fighting 155s, right? He was just taking advantage of his speed and some things like that. But the sport has grown since then. So I'd say like 45 would be probably where I'd like top out at if I wanted to be competitive. Of course, I could take fights at 55s, but then I'm fighting guys that are well put together and 6 feet tall, So,
Damn, that 10 pounds means so much, huh?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Well, because most guys that are fighting, we'll say 55s, probably walk around at like 190, or like 185. So I'm really fighting a guy that, is 30 pounds heavier than me, even though it's only 10. He's 30 pounds heavier than me.
And the walk around weight and the fighting weight is, I'd never realized how vast a difference it
It
is.
seems so counterintuitive to make a guy
Lose so much weight at once.
to go through such a traumatic thing, only to let him then put that weight back on before he actually hits the octagon.
Yeah. It'd be nice if there was it'd be too much of a pain in the ass, but if like in wrestling, you weighed in an hour before you competed. But even when I wrestled, people were still cutting fucking weight, right? So it's like someone's going to do it. But now if you do it the smart way, you're not depleted at all, because I'm mainly losing water weight and I'm doing it in a healthy, right way. Me losing 15 pounds ain't shit, And then I'm going to put 17 pounds back on before I fight.
Does your shoulder look like it's going to heal in a way that's going to allow you to get back out there?
No, probably not. I mean, since my last fight, I've had 3 surgeries on it, and again, I can't lift it. Like, seriously, like if I wanted to raise my hand in the air, I just can't. The muscles aren't working. I'm hoping maybe the nerves will come back. Maybe my nerves got jacked up. I got to get an EMG on the 6th to see what my nerves are doing because something's not working. Like everything's attached. So I had a wild surgery. So I've had 6 surgeries on that shoulder, but 2 ago, they found out I had chronic rotator cuff failure because my shoulder had been jacked up for so long and torn for so long. My rotator cuffs, which are muscle/tendons, kind of turned into beef jerky. Like they lost all vascularity. You stitch them back together. They're not going to really do anything. And so they had to remove my lower trap, a piece of my lower trap out of my back and replace 2 of my rotator cuffs. They had to remove a piece of my lower lat and put it in the front of my shoulder. I have someone like a bone graft from someone's hip bone. So someone that passed away that was under 30 years old that I took a piece of their hip bone. They cut an orange slice into it. They cut an orange slice into my shoulder. So to make my shoulder round again, because it wasn't round anymore from how many times I dislocated it. And then they had to use an Achilles tendon to attach it all together. Right. So I had a massive surgery. It's a very new surgery. It's only been done like not very many times. And if it does not work, like I'm going to have to probably get like a shoulder, like no matter what in my life, I'm going to have to get a shoulder replacement, just trying to put it off for hopefully 10 years. Because in 10 years, hopefully the science will just be.
Yes.
that much, yeah.
Here's a pill.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give me a new bionic arm or some shit. You know what I
Hell
mean?
yeah. Jax from Street Fighter. I mean, from Mortal Kombat. Why not?
Right. Yeah. So unfortunately, my shoulder, I'm hoping I can even just grapple for like do jujitsu for fun in my life again. You know, like I got a 6-year-old son that wants to start wrestling. I hope I can teach him wrestling, you know? So I'm just hoping for quality of life now. And I've completely dove into Wild Society Nutrition.
Yeah, you're a complete entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love seeing athletes when they're done, they're still doing something that it doesn't have to be sports.
Yeah.
It could be sports adjacent.
Yeah.
And as yourself, you're a commodity and other people can think of themselves that way and be a lawyer.
Yeah.
You could still have your algorithm, but you could, like right now, I hope there's people out there that are just on the website looking, just what we say the other day, I wrote it all down. Like I need to fix this, I need to get on this. This is what I need to do. So hearing like more protein is what I need to do. Cause I really don't feel it. I feel just,
Yeah.
I know the weeds probably, I mean, I smoke a lot of weed, but I smoked a lot of weed before.
Yeah.
Felt fine.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I would get some blood work done too. The same way he's like, I would go get some blood work, hit up that company Transcend and see what your blood's doing too. Like your testosterone, how old are you?
34.
Testosterone might be starting to decrease, right? Your energy levels are gonna be lower because of it. You might need to start looking into that, right? Or
Peptides.
or even just your diet's going to switch up a lot. You can start boosting hormones a lot with the right kind of diet too. Like I don't need any grain. I don't need any, I'm gluten free. So no like breads, wheats, flours. I don't need any added sugars. So no complex man-made sugars. I'll eat fruit and stuff like that. And I eat super high protein. So high protein, good fats like butters, milks, and like cheeses, things like that. Like some people can't do it because of lactose, but I can. It's going to like change up your body composition completely. And once you start burning fat for energy, you're going to have a lot more energy. And electrolyte water, we make an electrolyte powder as well too that we'll be selling by the end of this year. Getting into electrolytes as well too. Like, and it makes your water taste good. So it makes me drink, more water throughout the day. You know, because it actually makes my water taste good. Drinking water is boring, right?
It's boring.
It is boring. It's boring as shit,
Yeah.
especially when there's so many flavors in the world out there. But we have an electrolyte powder that's got no sugar and it's sweetened with monk fruit and stevia. And so you're going to get that like sugar feeling without drinking sugar. And it's like you're drinking Kool-Aid, you know?
Count me in, man.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. We've had, people that we had like Mario Lopez, he grapples every morning. He's in jiu-jitsu. He does this. But we don't have somebody that's a true dedicated athlete. That's your profession. That's what you do. As a world-class athlete, how do you feel about this influencer fight thing that's been going on for the past couple of years? Do you think it's maybe shedding light and maybe more people are getting into sports and looking at it? Or do you think it's making it a circus?
I think it's great. I do. I think it's great. The more eyes, the better. Okay. And everyone wants to talk about Jake Paul, right? Because he's been the biggest, but he ain't just an influencer no more. Right?
No, he's a boxer.
He's a boxer. He's got all the money in the world, so he can hire the best coaches in the world. He's training 24/7, and he's an athlete. He was a kid that wrestled. Like he can learn to box just like anyone else can learn to box, right? Yeah. He's not a world-class boxer, but he is an athlete that he is beating some older MMA guys, and he's doing good. And he's doing a great job promoting the sport. So more power to him, man. I mean, maybe it started off a little bit of a joke and you got to kind of laugh at it, but he's taking it serious,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do boxers get tested like UFC fighters do?
Not as much, but they get, so everything's under like the state athletic commission.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's like wherever you're fighting. If you're fighting in Texas, it's less than this, or Vegas. Like it all depends. But in like, they're probably getting drug tested maybe the night of their fight.
Gotcha.
But like UFC, we get drug tested 365 days a year. They'll show up to your house 6 o'clock in the morning. Like you could be
Like a probation officer?
pounding on your door, like pounding at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's
there's only a window they can't drug test you is from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Other than that, they can drug test you anytime they want. When you're training, when you're at, there's an app that you have to let them know where you're at 24/7.
Wow.
Like if I'm on vacation, if I'm hunting in the woods, if I'm like going to Disneyland with my family, they can show up and drug test me at Disneyland.
what?
Yeah.
Is it still like that now that USADA's not with
I
UFC?
don't know. I doubt it.
That seems like an invasion of privacy.
Oh, big time. And we're not employees.
Yeah, you're a independent contractor, so why? Whoa.
Yeah. We have to tell them where we're at 24/7, Yeah.
No other sport in the world does that.
I doubt they do that anymore because they got rid of USADA. And I think they were doing it because of trying to go public and just the scrutiny maybe of fighting in general. I think they were just trying to like show that they're doing everything possibly can to make it as clean, you know, but it was just a massive headache. You know? It was ridiculous.
On that same topic, do you think, like, we were supposed to have Nick Diaz coming back for another fight and it just got canceled. Do you think we ever see that happen again?
Nick or Nate? Nate was supposed to come back. So, you're my bad. Yeah, Nick. Nick was supposed to come back. Yeah, I just think, was he supposed to fight overseas or something?
Abu Dhabi.
I don't think it was a visa issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll fight.
Do you think his whole 5-year suspension over the weed was bullshit?
Oh, complete bullshit. Yeah. I mean, they've made a whole rule of it now that you're allowed to smoke weed now. Like, there's no
what
more.
Was it all for?
It was the state athletic commission, man. It was, I mean, to be honest, it's complete bullshit. You know, like more power to let my opponent smoke weed. I don't care.
Yeah, let him get high.
Yeah, what's it gonna matter? You
It's
know?
not gonna heighten his abilities, man. I promise.
Yeah, I mean, even if it does, though, it's weed. Like maybe it does help with some people and like their focus. Some people do need it, right? Like, but if it's fucking weed, and if it helps him, like same reason why I take creatine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's a steroid.
It's an external force helping me.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the earth.
Has weed ever been a part of your life at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up. So we grew up in an area that everyone grew weed. And that's what we did. We'd go like chop down areas in blackberry bushes and hide them. You know?
Oh, yourself. Let's go. All right.
Yeah, when we were kids in high school and stuff, we'd go like find some blackberry bushes out some rancher's field that had a spring leading to it. You'd set up your drip line and hide your weed and grow it outside, right? Obviously, it's grown since
Gorilla
then.
grows.
Yeah, it's back when you were a drug dealer. If you
You were. You're stealing water sources.
Yeah, man. I mean, because like I didn't have no house I could grow weed in. Indoor didn't even hardly exist for like especially a high schooler back then, right?
Wow.
So it's definitely been a part of my life. Cannabis has been. I still eat edibles and stuff before I go to bed. I don't smoke it as much. I got a 6-year-old and I stay busy all throughout the day, but I like to finish my day off with like 5 or 10 milligrams, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It just depends on the day, and you know, maybe it's the weekend and I want to relax at the pool. You know, I feel like I smoke a lot less lately because of. It gives me anxiety a little bit. I feel like weed's gotten so strong that it gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I think it's this. Can I explain it? 'Cause I do this all the time.
This is his expertise.
Ready? I think it's this. Hey man, I used to drink Jack Daniels all through college, man. It's been years. Then you drink 3 shots, like I can't keep up like I could. But do you remember the first time you drank Jack Daniels? Those 3 shots fucked you up too. So I think it's like my tolerance is so high. Like, no, it was high.
Yeah.
But you're at base 1 again. Yeah. It's like, I didn't work out for 12 years, but I can't run a mile again.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I think it's just one joint. Like, that one joint is a lot of joint for one person that hasn't smoked in a long time.
Yeah, I feel you.
I think that's what it is. So you just take this home whenever you're ready.
There
You go. Just take it home.
Appreciate it.
Got some other stuff for you. Got some edibles for you too.
Nice.
So
hell yeah.
Just take it home when you feel like you need. Just fall asleep. There you go.
Yeah. I feel what you're saying. I think that makes sense. But part of me also is like my life has changed too. Like I'm so busy now and like I got shit going on that it's like whenever I like smoke weed, it's kind of like I feel like I'm not doing something I should be doing. You know, it's like I've always got like fuck what I should have been doing this, should have been doing that. Like I overthink what's going on in my life.
What about working out? Is it tied to that for you? I could see that happening.
Like working out making me feel
like
good.
You start getting like, damn, what do I need to do? Damn, let me go work out.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely do that, or I usually just go sit on the couch. Usually the MO is just like, I'm gonna go sit on the couch, right? Like, if I was someone that probably was more used to smoking weed all the time, yeah, of course I'd be able to live like I think when I was younger, you'd be able to live normal life, right? But now it's kind of like, oh, I ain't doing shit.
Every time I work out, I have to. It's like dials the music and more. I feel like I'm more.
It's like your pre-workout.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's literally what he calls it. That's exactly what he calls it.
Man, I remember I did B Reels. I've done B Reels podcast, and I've also did his hot box.
The smoke box,
dude. Just their weed is so fucking strong too. Yeah. And we all sat in this car and we all got our own personal joints. I mean, I can only smoke a little bit of mine, but I was so ripped. Like I don't remember what I talked about the entire time. They'd ask me questions and like I had to ask my buddy. Was just like, "Hey, was that any good? Was that did I like sound like a fucking idiot? You know, like I had no idea what I was saying.
Every episode.
Yeah, I did the smoke box too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we did ounce joints each.
Oh, what?
It was.
How can you? I mean, that's not a joint. That's like a.
Yeah, it was like. And you know what? It was a half-ounce joint. Damn. It was like that.
Yeah.
But it was just, it's like your house is on fire.
Yeah.
Like I hotbox. I hotbox. You did in high school? Of course you did.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
This is not the same. It's like they turn the air off. There's no more oxygen coming in.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get a couple questions off about UFC 304 real quick.
Yeah.
So this is my first time watching Paddy the Baddy.
Okay.
And I was really just impressed by how like calm and casual he looked and how relaxed, and like his whole vibe coming into the octagon was so relaxed. And then he executed this beautiful jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it almost seemed like a late stoppage to me. I felt like bro was out before the armbar even really got sunk in. He probably didn't have to go through that whole armbar.
Yeah.
In contrast to the next fight, where in the first round Aspinall got on his back and it felt like kind of a quick stoppage.
So you got to remember this. So a choke, getting choked unconscious does not hurt you at all, right? Like you're going to wake back up, you're going to be fine. Like the choke can go a little bit too long, obviously not like a minute, you'd be brain dead, but it can go a little bit long, right? And nothing that bad's going to happen. Yeah, I got armbarred. The thing that impressed me with Paddy was that he could have broke that guy's arm. He could have broke Bobby Green's arm, but he didn't. Like it's almost like he looked at him, saw that he was out, and just held it.
Yeah.
Because he really could have cranked it. When it comes to Tom Aspinall and there as a heavyweights, he cracked him. I wouldn't call it. It was maybe on the little side of fast. But you got to remember, there's a guy that's 256 pounds on his back,
Safe.
throwing like 6 or 7 unanswered punches. He wasn't going to go anywhere. So. Yes, it's for a title fight, and myself as well too. But like, let me go out. I want to go out on my shield. But part of it's kind of like he wasn't going anywhere. You got 256. You got 256 pounds on your back, and the guy's just gonna be ripping off more shots. You want to land 10 more, and then it's kind of like, oh, that ref let it go too late, and then it's like you got this guy's health in your hands. Like,
yeah, it was a safe stoppage. Like I said, she's too big to let him off like that.
Yeah, I think
after 5, you're like, he's.
I'd feel so bad shorting a dude of his title. Like,
exactly.
But at the same time, like, I'm trying to protect your brain. I mean, that's why the ref's there.
If Curtis would have like pulled guard rather than staying on his belly, like all he do is kind of like roll to his back this way, he wouldn't have got lit up as much, and the fight would have kept going, right? But in that moment, especially him being a wrestler, like it's not intuitive for him to go to his back.
Yes.
But if he would have went to his back, then the fight would have kept going.
Now, is it weird to you that John Jones is going to fight Stipe?
I think it's very weird. I mean, I don't think it was weird originally. Excuse me, I got a burp. I don't think it was weird originally until now. There's like a super good interim champion, right? When it was Stipe and John Jones, and before John Jones ripped his pec from the bone, like it made sense, right? But now Aspinall's continued to be active. He's the interim champion, looks like the best heavyweight in the world. When ever in the world has there not been like a interim champion? The interim champion's next fight should be the champion. That's the whole point of an interim champion, right? Yeah. If the interim champion's active, or if the champion's active, the interim champion has, like they should fight. That's the only way it goes. Yeah. So it makes this thing weird. It kind of feels more like boxing to me than it does MMA, because boxing a lot of times they choose their fights,
favoritism.
Right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, they don't really have like a ranking system that really means shit. They kind of like promoters put on whatever fights they want. It kind of feels like that, which I think sucks. I think Aspinall, what should have happened was that Stipe should have just fought someone else rather than waiting for John Jones to come back. Stipe should have fought Aspinall, but neither of those guys want to fight Aspinall because he's a fucking
That's
threat.
what I'm wondering. Is he a real threat to John Jones?
Fuck yeah. Like okay, John Jones doesn't need to do shit. He's financially fine. He's known as the GOAT, greatest of all time, like has done everything. So when you look at it like, oh, I could fight Stipe, where most likely I'm going to beat Stipe. Or I fight Tom Aspinall, and this guy's young, hungry, and maybe has a chance to beat me. Like, why should I do it?
That's
I understand
true.
where he's coming from,
Yeah,
right? It's kind of like,
yeah.
I don't need to do this. Like, he could just straight up retire and like, greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Right? Or you go out and lose to Tom Aspinall.
Right.
I still think you're the greatest of all time because of what you've done, but you've hindered that just a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So he's just playing politics.
It's annoying to me because I really started to fall in love with UFC right around like the Mendez McGregor fight era.
Oh, yeah.
I've only seen John Jones fight like once, I think.
He's scary.
Like, and he's let me down so many times as a fan that I feel like I'm never going to see him in his greatness, possibly.
Spider.
Yeah, that's tough because we obviously watched him when he was just an animal, fighting all the time and just making it look easy though too, right? Like I wouldn't say like you look at him and say like, oh my god, that guy's so scary, he's ripping faces off, but more like he would just like
He had no demeanor.
He would just dominate like guys that were supposed to be fucking killers, right? And he would do it pretty easily. And he used to fight very actively when I was active champion and back in 2014 and things like that. He was very active. But yeah, I mean, he's old, dude. I mean, I think he's my age. It's 38 years old and doesn't need the money and it's got the
it's
best
different.
like, it's different, you know.
Does he come to mind when you think of the greatest fighter of all time, in your opinion?
Yes. Just because of what he's done. Yeah, maybe been a long while ago, but he is undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got one TKO, which now should be reversed because they changed that rule to 12 to 6 elbows. That's why he got disqualified. But other than that, he's undefeated and he's beat the who's who of like names.
It's true.
So it's kind of hard to argue that he's not the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the UFC question: if and when McGregor Chandler happens,
I don't think it ever happens.
never happens.
I don't know if McGregor's ever going to fight again, dude.
Yeah.
He's in the
It's
movies
kind of
now,
like,
man.
well, it's kind of like he's just like keeping, be kind of like, oh, I'm going to post on Instagram. I got some big news coming up. Just to get some attention on my page so that I can like keep people's eyeballs engaged on my brands and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise, I mean, his name will never disappear, but
No.
like, you're never going to be as big if you're not active, if you're not in the media, if you're not doing something to like get people to talk about you. So I think it might be a way of people. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm hoping he proves me wrong. And even Chandler's making money off of not fighting. I think he's making more money now just because of the idea of him fighting McGregor. Like he's getting all these sponsors and he's like on
That's
the
cool.
WWE.
You're right. It is. It's an attention thing.
It is.
It is an attention thing. If you think about it, because like I can keep money in by saying, I might fight this year.
Yeah, I might fight this year.
All right, Pepsi. Pepsi wants to sponsor me, and they know I'm going to be wearing it at the fight.
Or I got
That never
my own.
happens.
I got my own fucking $hundreds of millions of companies and selling fucking Forged and Proper 12 and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's got
Crushing it.
Yeah, he's
Well, like the same thing with you. You're leveraging off something that he's more of a loud. You know, he's selling liquor. He's in fucking the new Footloose or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Not Footloose. Sorry. You're doing the health. You're doing your health route, and like you said, number one in the past 4 weeks. There's a different route when you
got to
know what you want.
Yeah, when you also got to know your role. You got to know like your demographic, or you got to know like what you're good at. Like if I would have been a fighter that was willing to be more colorful, talk more shit, and stir up some drama, I could have been a lot more famous, right? It just wasn't me, and it felt out of place, and I just didn't want to force it. And so I got some popularity because I was just good, but I could have been like a lot more of a bigger name if I would have like Paddy the Baddy or like Sean O'Malley, that's a champion at one weight class right now. Like they're willing to do that, to be a character, and I just never was. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not to play into it. You're just there to beat the shit out of people and walk away.
and but doing what they do, it takes a lot of work. Like I give them all the power in the world to it, because like Conor McGregor, for instance, like I was a champion and I was busy. It was like, fuck, man, I don't get ever any time to rest. Like I'm doing all this media. I couldn't even imagine what that guy does. You know, so it's a lot of work, man. And I think he like plans out his speeches and just does a lot of work on the side that is not seen. And
To make it look effortless.
yeah, exactly.
I have a question. I just recently went to BKFC, the Knuckle Mania.
Oh yeah.
What is your opinion on that? Have you been to it? Have you seen it in person?
I've never been to it. I think Mike Perry has continued to like carry that shit on his back. You know what I mean? Like,
I just saw him fight.
yeah,
Yeah, the BKFC here in LA.
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I've never been to it. I guess I never really got into it either. I've had some friends that fight in it and stuff. It's cool. It's a cool idea. It's savage, right?
It's scary.
You're for sure gonna get cut, and they get to wrap their hands up, so they're like,
Just bricks.
yeah,
It's just missiles.
yeah.
But I'll tell you this: the excitement in that building was unbelievable.
Was it? Have you been to a UFC fight?
No.
Yeah.
That's the next thing we're doing.
Yeah.
We missed the Anaheim one together. But I've never been to a real fight in person. So I can only imagine. But yeah, the one thing I'll say about that is there's a constant I hope his eye doesn't come out. There's a constant, you know, because I want to see you get knocked out, but I also want you to be okay, man.
But I guarantee you, now that you've went to that, or if you've ever like go to a Bellator fight, but then go to a UFC fight, the production on the UFC fight is 1,000,000 times better. It is just, you can go to all these other shows and no one will ever top the UFC. They do such a good job at it. Like the build up to the fights, the production they put into it, the Joe Rogans of the world, the Bruce Buffers. Like you just can't.
They're the model.
You just can't keep up. You know, it's like the NFL versus what's the Canadian league? You know?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Or the XFL. Remember when we were kids?
XFL, yeah.
Didn't you think wrestlers were gonna play football?
Yeah.
Vince McMahon came. I'm like, is Kane gonna play football? And it wasn't anything to be. It was like watching the Army versus the Navy.
Right.
It's the same shit.
You know.
I noticed like watching your tutorial videos, and this kind of goes into the thing where I want to talk about your online course that you have on your website.
Yeah.
But watching your tutorial videos, you're so technical and your fight IQ is so high, and you're like explaining how to throw a kick. My foot's going out here because that's going to swing my hips around. It's going to allow me to bring my momentum through. Like there's so many little things. You can tell you've had so much coaching. There's so many little things on each move and combination that you're like demonstrating. When you're out there and you're actually fighting, of your mental space that you have between like your coach's voice, the crowd, all the pressure that you're under the fight, your everything that could be taking up your brain power. What's at like your inner dialogue when you're actually going through it? Are you blank? Are you thinking of the technique?
Hopefully, I'm for the most part blank. Hopefully, right? It doesn't always go blank.
Oh,
right?
hopefully.
Yeah, I don't want to think. If I'm thinking, I'm going slower. I want to train so hard for every situation. That's why you visualize, like the Michael Jordans of the world will visualize themselves like sinking a free throw just over and over and over again, or me landing this. Like I see a technique of me landing it just over and over and over again, so that when that opportunity comes, I don't have to think about doing it. It just my brain
happens.
Does it. Because if I have to think about doing it and I'm a millisecond behind, that combo is not going to land. Or that opening, if I slip a punch because I just see it, I should just know automatically because I've trained it so many times that I'm throwing my right hand, right? Because he threw a jab, I slipped it. Boom, right hand, right? Or maybe I watch the tape on this guy and he steps a certain way to where I'm going to see like every time he steps that way, I'm throwing a leg kick. I'm going to blast a leg kick every time he steps that way. And I've trained it so much, and every fight's different, that I don't have to think about it. And I say when I first started my career in fighting and being so fucking nervous that like I had such tunnel vision that all I could do think about was like what I needed to do. Like I wouldn't focus on anything else. I wouldn't see where my family's at. I wouldn't check out like the celebrities in the crowd. I wouldn't enjoy my walkout. I was just so fucking revved up that I had to knock you out and like go, this is what I'm training, this is what I'm doing. I won a lot doing that, but it was a lot harder and I didn't perform as well. Something very generic that happened like halfway through my career. I had a corner man, Justin Buckles, before my Mike Easton fight out in Atlanta, Georgia. It's like, you know, I'm nervous in the back like I always am, like fucking yelling and getting pumped up and warming up back there. Everyone warms up. I'll get to that too. Everyone does their own shit. But he's like, hey, man, like, you got to realize you're walking out in front of millions of people. And people would pay so much money to be in your situation right now. Like, you're going to walk out this tunnel. Cameras are going to be on you. The whole world's watching. He's like, enjoy this shit right now. Because if you don't, one day you're going to like, you're going to be pissed that you didn't like, you know? So I was like, for whatever reason, it's like generic to like have fun, right? Like, hey man, have fun. It's like, yeah, no shit, dude. Right. But like for whatever reason, it hit home that night and I walked out. And that's what, like with that song I played, that's like my walkout song forever now. Cause like that night I had so much fun. I was listening to it as Can't Stop by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I remember walking out of the tunnel, seeing everyone. I remember seeing Shaquille O'Neal front row and like talking back and forth with him because at the time I was fighting out of Sacramento and he was involved with the Kings. And he's like, you know, do it for Sac. And so me and him just started, you know, lipping back and forth and, you know, just seeing what other celebrities in the crowd. I see my family, just start really paying attention, like soaking up the energy. And what I can testament that to is like I really had fun. And then when I fought that night, like by far, it was like my up to date. It was my best performance, right? I've had much better performances since then, but like my striking was just fluid. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't tense. I wasn't overthinking my combos. I remember I hit a double leg in the middle of the match. I pick him up. I see Shaquille O'Neal. They're like, Shaquille, this one's for you, man. And I like slam, and I slam him. And then after that, like Coach Shaquille's like up to the cage. I'm like, oh, elbow him. And I'm like fucking looking back and forth. So that fight went so well and I had so much fun that's kind of how I decided. I had to trick myself, right? Because everyone's got negative thoughts in your head. No matter what life you live, an athlete or whatever business, whatever you're doing, everyone's got negative thoughts, right? And doubts of yourself. And it was my way to trick my brain of my doubts. It was learning to have fun with my nerves and learning to enjoy it, because especially now, because I fucking miss it. Like you'll never feel more alive walking out in front of millions of people to fight on national TV, right? Like you'll never be that nervous ever again in my life, you know, like no matter what I do, there's no way. And so I miss it. So I'm glad that I got to enjoy that process, and it also made me a lot better. And it just continued, because the next fight after that was when I fought Henry Brow the first time and won my first belt. And that fight right there was like flow state. Like when you talk about thinking, that was like the most flow state. Like the fight felt like slow motion for me. I felt like what Michael Jordan probably felt like when he's in his prime, right? Like just like like one of the only fights they went to a fucking T, like exactly how I trained it and planned it out. It happened, you know? And it's because I was in that flow state. I was in like the no thinking, train so hard that I don't have to think.
So when you said you already know when he steps here, you're training this person. That's your homework.
Yeah.
I've seen fighters like, oh, injured 3 weeks out, new fighter in.
Yeah.
That throws I mean, you've been studying for the wrong test.
Yeah.
Okay, so that obviously throws a wrench in the entire.
Dude, I took a fight. So my first title defense, I beat Barao. Supposed to rematch Barao, so I beat him in May. I set up a rematch to fight him in August, and it's a big hyped up fight. He does not make weight, falls down, hits his head. They have to pull him out. They have me fight Joe Soto on 24 hours notice to defend my belt. No other champion's ever done this. Fought someone on 24 hours notice. So I had to switch my opponent. And this guy, Joe Soto, was a very good wrestler, trained. He was a Bellator champion that just got into the UFC. I was training with him for this fight. He came to Team Alpha Male and came and trained with us. We're like 8, like not the whole time, but like we were, I don't know, 8 weeks before the fight, maybe 6 weeks even. He was at Alpha Male because we were buddies. He's a wrestler from California and trained with us because he was going to be fighting in Sacramento as well. And so we trained together. So I knew how good he was, and I had to take this fight on short notice. Yes, to your question, it throws a giant wrench.
That's some John Gruden moving to Tampa Bay and coming back and wrecking the Raiders. Man.
Oh, dude, I
I
fucking
know
hate that
all
Super
of
Bowl.
it.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Raiders fan. I hate that Super Bowl.
Oh, I remember that Super Bowl.
Like 40-3 or some bullshit.
I think he threw like 7 picks, Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
He never got his confidence back after that, man. I remember watching at my grandma's couch, just, and I got the Sports Illustrated. It's
Coach that's very good, Dwayne Ludwig, that picks people apart like crazy. We're always on the same page with it. But because of my fight IQ, I will watch my opponent fight certain fights over and over again and see their tendencies, what they're good at, what they're bad at, what holes do I see. And then I also think, like, if I was Hindenbrow, for instance, or if I was Cody Garbrandt, what would I do to me? And I started picking myself apart. And I see, like, started planning on, like, what I think he'll try to do to me, right? And then you train your weaknesses to be strengths and train his weaknesses to be your strength. And so, yeah, when that switches up like that, it kind of fucks you over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your course, your online course that Marty mentioned.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that real quick? And where can everybody join?
That's just on my website, tjdillashaw.com. Unfortunately, I haven't, like, I released that back in 2019. I haven't updated it ever since. I've been too busy with just life and shit, to be honest. That it's a great program. It's probably like an 8-week to 12-week program. Teaches you great, like, basics to MMA, also how to get in shape for MMA, like the right training systems to do, kind of the stuff we've all been talking about, put into like an 8-12-week program. So it's out there if you haven't done it, but unfortunately I haven't released a new one. I've had a lot of people asking me to do it. I've just been busy with other stuff.
No worries.
tjdillashaw.com.
And you got the sick clothes up there too. You got the Killashaw merch.
Thanks,
and all
man.
the snake stuff.
Yeah, it's like a lot of it's like from my tattoos that I've gotten throughout the years. You know, like the whole snake thing started because of Conor McGregor, so I just ran with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, can I see the tattoo you got of your wife?
Oh, dude, yeah, this was my favorite. So right here's my wife's eyeball. I had her
Oh, so where do you see a person?
See
I
right
see the
beneath
eye.
the
so
deer?
it's my wife's eye, but in the reflection of her eye is me holding my belt up. It's like a really small me. It's
So sick.
It's the picture of me beating Hindenbrow and me raising the belt in the air afterwards.
Come on.
The reflection of her eye. Yeah,
Whose idea was that?
my tattoo artist.
Oh,
He's wanting to. Like I told him, I was like, hey, I'd love to put my wife's eye on my arm, right? Like I didn't want to, like, I actually have her face on my quad down here, but back then it was just like I wanted to put, you know, a representation of her. I was doing my whole life, right? And so like representation of her, I'd like want to just do her eye, like she's, you know, got it, like she's watching over me, kind of, right, throughout my career. She's been like my rock. She's like helped me out through so much shit. We've been together since I was 20, when I started wrestling in college and shit. So we've been together she's been through my whole career.
Can't be easy to be with a fighder, I'd imagine.
I wouldn't think so either. Definitely someone that's really intense. But and then it was his idea. Like he's always wanted to, like, I didn't want a picture of myself on my arm, right?
I feel you.
Like he wanted to like do something that represented me, and like a picture of me or me holding a belt. And I was like, I don't want to put myself on my arm. It seems kind of fucking egotistical, right?
feel you,
Like,
man.
Yeah.
but he's
I
like,
feel
dude,
you.
what about this? Like, that's fucking dope, you know? Because it's like
That's
the
so
night,
sick.
the night our life changed forever. Like that night is like changed us financially, changed us like everything. Like me starting my own company, like all that stuff is possible now because of that night. So that was pretty sick.
So you touched on it earlier, and you said, "Oh, I'll get into that about the rich." What is the weirdest pre-fight rituals that you've seen, or just something that you can't forget?
Dude, it's too bad they can't have like some sort of like reality TV show of just backstage before fights, because you see some shit, man. Like if there could be just like a fly on the wall, not like a camera in everyone's face, because they're obviously going to act differently. But if
Just
it's like,
a little-
if no one knew that there's a camera there and they're filming everyone in the backstage, is like everyone's different, man. Like there's some guys that you would never guess are as nervous as they are. Like you talked about Patty Pimblett coming out and being like stone cold, having fun, doing that. He might be. I don't know. I've never been in the backstage with him. But a guy like Donald Cerrone comes out. He's a G. Fights all the fucking time. Like comes out, just like goes for it. Like great fighter.
Yeah.
Backstage, he's always like throwing up, not wanting to fight. He's always like, man, what the fuck? Why am I doing this? Like almost wanting to cry. Like in like. He's like the most G ever when he walks out. He walks out there, flips a switch, and he's completely different. That's who he is backstage. Me, I'm like, I enjoy it, but I'm also, I had to learn to enjoy it. I'm back there like yelling, fucking being intense, like in my trainer partner's faces hitting mitts, like amped to 1,000. Like just for whatever reason, that's just how I am backstage. Mark Hunt, that motherfucker's sleeping on the ground. Like sleeping all the way until, I don't know, like, they call you out to walk out. He's probably like maybe 5 minutes before he walks. Gets up, moves around. Trainer holds a mitt. He hits a couple of right hands. And he's like, all right, I'm ready. It's like, what? Like, I'm like complete opposite. I'm like, I pretty much went through like 3 fights before I fight. Just for whatever reason, that's like how I deal with my nerves. Like me going through, so I have like this journal, like same way I'm watching tapes. And I pick like each I don't know, 4 or 5 pages of each fight. It'll say like Garbrandt 2 or whatever it may be. I'm like, what combos I'm going to throw in that fight, how I see it going, like what he's going to do. And then like, and I'm backstage warming up, I go through those combos. I know them by heart. I don't have to look at my journal anymore, but like I'll go through those combos because they make me feel more confident. But I'm doing it hard and I'm fucking, being intense, right? That's just helps me deal with my nerves. Mark Hunt, he likes to sleep. He likes to chill. Donald Cerrone has to get like deathly sick and afraid, because I feel like if he was maybe having too much fun, he wouldn't perform like he thinks. I don't know.
Got you.
Some people have to be angry. Some people have to be fun. Some people have to like not think about the fight. Some people have to overthink about the fight. And the recipe to success is always different for every person. You have to find what works best for you. What works best for me will not work for someone else.
Are mental coaches still a big thing with the fighters, or not so much?
They should be. I mean, depending on who you are. I never used a sports psychologist. I think they have huge benefits, especially if there's someone that maybe lacks in that department. For whatever reason, I've never been that person. I've always been maybe sometimes the only time I've gotten in trouble is when I'm too confident. I underestimate someone and I get beat because of that. But if you need help, it's a huge tool. There's a guy right now that does a very good job of it, is Corey Sanhagen.
SocietyNutrition.com.
Yeah.
Genuinely going to look at that.
Sprouts.
Thank you.
Yes, Sprouts nationwide. Any Sprouts around you.
And look into peptides.
There we go, dude. Yeah.
And it's premium, nutrient dense, nothing artificial. So all natural, all great ingredients going down.
And like we said, if there's anybody to trust on health and peak performance,
Hell yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, but try. I definitely a lot of heart, a lot of love went into these products. I created something I could really stand behind. I created them myself, so no shit, no bullshit in it. But they're as best as you can get.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
So everybody can find you,
Check it out.
TJ Dillashaw, everywhere.
Yeah, just at TJ Dillashaw, Instagram, Twitter. I'm too old for TikTok.
Unless you're gonna just sit there and you know what, you could post yourself breaking down.
I could. People have been telling me,
just your workout every day.
Just repost what you post on Instagram, on TikTok, and Facebook. Like,
There
it'll
you
go
go.
crazy. The workouts.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
the workouts. I saw you doing the thing where you're talking about your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Like just explaining things because I know you're not like I don't own face on me. I'm not really that guy. Yeah. You are a world class athlete, and people want to hear this. So you have to think about outside of the terms. Like you said, you're looking out. You're outside in. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? That he's gonna. What are your strengths from the outside? You're a world class athlete, and people really want to hear about nutrition because that is the number one thing in everyone's life.
Yeah.
And
at the end of the
knows
day,
you for being shredded and super crazy cardio. Like, it makes sense to be that guy.
makes sense.
Appreciate it.
Well, we really appreciate you being here.
Yes,
thank you
it's
so
been fun,
much.
dude. Yeah.
Thank you,
Marty,
sir. Appreciate
you. Thank you so much, guys. From everybody at the Dope as Usual podcast, thank you so much. This has been the DJ Dillashaw episode. Have a dope ass day.
Perfect.